Hello and welcome to Smash Hit Sports. I'm your host, Cody. Biggest game of the year is upon us. Super Bowl Sunday is coming up. I have Andrew Elmquist on. He's on the Commish crew on Twitter. All of their stuff is going to be linked below. His Twitter is on the screen if you were watching on YouTube, which if you aren't watching on YouTube, you absolutely should. It's the best way to watch this podcast. Get to see our beautiful faces, right, Andrew? I mean, we're looking good. Andrew's got the Bengals jersey on.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, you gotta check it out. But Andrew, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, Cody. Yeah, I just had to rep the Bengals jersey. For those of you who were not at the Fantasy Football Expo, I dusted Cody for a game-winning touchdown in this jersey. So had to rep it. Had to rep it for sure.
Okay, look, let's talk about it. I knew you were going to bring it up, and this isn't how I wanted to start the podcast because the vibes are high. We have one football game left in the football season before we get this off season of sadness. So like people talk about seasonal depression. This is my seasonal depression when football ends. Sure. And you just have to start the podcast by coming at me, look, Andrew ran this ridiculous route at the Fantasy Football Expo. He had me like shaking in my boots. It was pretty tough. I made a great defensive play, but sometimes good offense is better than good defense. It is what it is. He was wearing a Ja'Marr Chase jersey. I think that helped.
Very true.
Look, I can only do so much, man. I expected safety help over the top. I didn't have it. I had to make a play. I just couldn't in that. and I was dealing with a hamstring issue.
Yeah.
And my stomach was full. I had a beer or two already. Right. It's one of those things. It's one of those things. But no, you guys ended up winning it all, right?
Yeah, I had the game-winning catch in the championship too. No big deal. But yeah, we took it home.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah. So if you don't love Andrew's incredible football analysis, you should at least follow him for his skill because you might be able to see him on Sundays here soon. But let's get into the game. Let's talk Chiefs first because you're wearing the Bengals jersey. They broke my heart. And while a lot of people are going to talk about the refs, this, that, and the other, if you let the refs decide the game, you already lost. Right. It sucks that the Bengals weren't there. That being said, Patrick Mahomes, are we sure that he is 100% healthy going into this game? Do you think he's going to be limited at all? What do you expect out of Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, number one, is that nobody knows who's 100% healthy besides Patrick Mahomes, right? I mean, we don't know. And I mean, that's why we do these shows. That's why, NFL media exists, just for speculation. I always call it speculation without representation. But
I love that.
Right. But what we do know, is what we saw with Mahomes, in the Bengals game. Dude balled out for 325 or 326 and 2 tuds. And that was just off of a short week, or I guess just a week. But now he's got 2 full weeks to prepare. So yeah, I think he's going to be as ready as he can be. The Chiefs love him, right? Like he's their guy. He's obviously the future. And I think he's going to do everything he can to put Kansas City on his back. But that's where I'm at, man. I think he's gonna be out there and try to do his darn thing for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those where 90% of Patrick Mahomes is still better than like most NFL quarterbacks, if not all NFL quarterbacks. Right. That being said, I think it takes away the fun Kansas City stuff, like they had a goal line play earlier this year where they had a direct snap to Travis Kelce and then they threw it to Mahomes. Right. Like, I think that kind of stuff gets eliminated from Kansas City's offense, especially in the goal line where they like to get creative, unless they just kind of put Pat out at receiver and say, hey, like the old Joe Flacco where he just stands there like straight up and down, doesn't actually do anything. Right. That being said, like as far as being in the pocket, throwing the ball, I think it'll be fine. It's one of those where if the Eagles can get him out of the pocket and make him move and make him relocate the pocket, we'll see if Mahomes can do that. But I think he'll be fine. It's one of those where do you think the Eagles have shut down a lot of teams this year. Do you think even with the Mahomes injury, is this Kansas City offense limited at all? Because they do have some receiver injuries. Right. Like they're not 100%.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be it's in my mind it's the Eagles' game to lose, just because they got they have everything going for them. Hurts is mostly healthy. Their D line is mostly healthy. But yeah, I think Mahomes, he's gonna have to pull out some magic, to get this game going. I think the announcers love to tout Mahomes as Magic and the Magic Man, and just kind of what you were talking about a little bit ago with the fun and trickery. I'm almost thinking they might try more of that, honestly, just because Mahomes is 100%. It's like, hey, it's like you ever watch Ted Lasso?
Yes.
Yeah, dude. So they're just gonna pull out some wild Kansas stuff, whatever, the Lasso special to make it happen.
The Lasso
right.
special.
It's just like, I think that the Chiefs, even though that it's, and we'll get into our bets obviously later, but I think that from my perspective, I think that the Chiefs' ability to just have that X factor, again, even if Mahomes is 80-90%, I think that, man, that's gonna be a major key, at least in my opinion.
Okay, so I want to get your opinion on this. I wrote this down, and tell me if this is just the worst take you've ever heard. The Chiefs, compared to their last Super Bowl run, their run game is non-existent right now. Like, it does not exist. In the AFC Championship game, Joe Burrow led all rushers in yards, which just shouldn't happen in any football game.
Sure.
That being said, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been activated off the reserve injured list. Right. We'll see how much action he actually gets. But I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, the Chiefs offense gets better when they get one-dimensional and they don't have to fake running the football, because when they run, they are incredibly inefficient.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've seen, because, you and I know this, especially if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football, draft capital is everything, right, for running backs. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire was their first-round pick. They took him over Jonathan Taylor. We won't go there. But I think they've kind of forced the ball to him, to your take, and he's had a problem with fumbles in the past. And so honestly, I was nervous when I saw them activate him, because I'm like, if they try to force that guy the football, it's going to be trouble for the Chiefs because he might fumble. This might be one of the worst rushing attacks heading into a Super Bowl that I can remember. Honestly, an X factor for them could be Kadarius Toney. Give me a couple of Toney end arounds, but Jet McKinnon has been more prevalent in the receiving game than the rushing game, So, yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, that was good, because you led right into my next question. I was going to ask because obviously Travis Kelce is that dude, and he is going to be the focal point of damn near every story about Kansas City, about him and Jason Kelce playing in the Super Bowl, two brothers, a really, really sick story. But outside of Travis Kelce, would you say Kadarius Toney is the most important weapon in that offense, or who would you place if somebody has to step up outside of Travis?
Yeah, I think Toney is the biggest, I'll say, X factor player, just because his dimensions with being in the rushing game and in the passing game as well. But actually, my kind of, if I were to highlight a player besides Kelce, it'd actually be MVS. I'm a big Packers fan, and so watching MVS kind of, I don't want to even say grow, but just play on the Packers. You have the sense that he was just on the wrong team, but the dude, he's fast, and he just knows what to do. And so we saw last game, for against the Bengals, right? He torched you guys for 116, a tud, and I think it was six receptions. So, if he can break past Bradbury and Slay and get even one or two big, 30, 40-yard catches, not only is that going to be big for the Chiefs to get, into Eagles territory and give Kelce the ball in the red zone, but it's just gonna unleash this offense. And even though they don't have a run game to speak of, right? That could open up the run game a little bit too, because if they, break the top off, the Eagles might play a little bit more deep coverage, because they have the Chiefs then have that deep ball threat. But yeah, for me, MVS is that guy. But who do you think? Do you think it's Toney?
I would lean Toney. MVS showed that he could do it. 116 and a touchdown against the Bengals is a big deal. Right. The only issue that concerns me when you look at that Bengals defense, their weakness is their outside corners. Everybody makes the Eli Apple jokes, but with Chidobe Awuzie tearing his ACL earlier in the season, they have a rookie and Eli Apple on the outside. That's where they exposed the Bengals, and it got the job done for them offensively. The Eagles, on the other hand, that is not their weakness defensively at all, because they have Darius Slay, they have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I think it's more Kadarius Toney if he could do some work in that slot middle of the field area opposite of Travis Kelce. I think they're going to try to feed him the ball. It'll be really interesting to see how this offense looks, because Juju Smith-Schuster, I don't think he's playing. It doesn't appear like it. So they're going to have to find somebody to step up. I would agree that MVS is probably the most likely candidate, sure. But if they can get one or two explosive plays out of Kadarius Toney, could mean the world for that Kansas City offense. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I would say is they have like 3 tight ends that are all really good besides Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Jody Fortson, you have Noah Gray. So you have guys like that who, you know, honestly, if they were on another team, they could be talked about like Kelce. You know, they're really talented dudes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs' offensive playmakers step up, but their defensive playmakers are damn near just as good. I'm not even going to venture to say that the Chiefs' defense is as good as the Eagles. The Eagles' defense has just been significantly better all season long. That being said, Chris Jones is the best defensive player on the field in this Super Bowl. Sure. Do you think, because the Eagles' offensive line is incredible, do you think that we are going to see one of those like unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Do you think Chris Jones is going to be able to wreak havoc against a phenomenal Eagles line? That is a matchup that, like, obviously people are going to talk about the 2 Kelce brothers, but like they don't get to go against each other. Jason Kelce and Chris Jones is going to have me glued to the TV.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got a 2-headed monster, right? Like you have Chris Jones and you have Frank Clark, who are both just dogs. And, you know, dogs. And I think, so the thing about going into this game is that, you know, the Eagles had this impenetrable O-line, but they did allow 44 sacks in the season, right? Which isn't an insignificant amount, especially when you look at the Kansas City side when they only allowed 22 sacks on the year, which is 3rd best in the league.
Wow, I didn't realize. I had no idea it was that kind of disparity.
It is pretty crazy. And I mean, between Chris Jones and Frank Clark, they have 20.5 combined sacks and 3 forced fumbles. So I mean, I don't think it's a matter of if they're going to get home; it's a matter of when. And I think that when, you know, if it's after the first half, maybe the Eagles, let's say hypothetically, have a 20-7 lead, or, you know, let's say they get out early. And you know, Jones and Clark aren't able to get going quickly or out of the gate, then I think it might be a little bit tougher. But man, if it's, you know, first quarter or early second quarter, they can get a sack or 2, Hurts might get rattled. And honestly, Hurts hasn't had to throw a lot, especially in the last 2 playoff games, right? I was looking into it before this, and it's so crazy because Hurts has, in the last 2 games, Hurts has combined for 275 passing yards and attempted just 49 passes. And Mahomes has 521 combined passing yards and 73 passing attempts, which is nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's truly like yin and yang as far as like offensive scheme goes. The Eagles are going to run the ball down your throat. They're going to do it 100 different ways. And the Chiefs are going to air the ball out, go up and down the field, make you move. It'll be interesting. You bring up a great point with the forced fumbles. I just looked it up because I was curious. Jalen Hurts had, I think it's 9 fumbles this year. Wow. Hold on, let me do the quick search. But like, that's not an insignificant, 5 fumbles this year, which is not like an insignificant amount either. So I don't know how many of those, you know, where it's a drop back passer, if he had any of those rushing the football, but it'll be interesting if they can get the ball loose. I know Mahomes had that weird ass one against the Bengals where like the snap just went through his hands. But turnovers really, which it's such a cliche thing to say. It's like, oh, if you win the turnover battle, it means a lot. It's going to help you win the football game. Well, no shit. Yeah. But this game really, it could come down to this. I was looking at like the interception props. I think Mahomes has a minus money interception prop. But Jalen Hurts, it's plus money for him to throw an interception, so they don't think he will. I think that's going to mean a world of difference. But I mean, like that Bengals playoff game against the Ravens, all it takes is a fumble or one missed snap changes the entire game. Exactly. But I want to talk about the Eagles for a little bit because you mentioned their passing, and I think part of the issue with obviously they haven't needed to throw the ball, right? They didn't need to throw it against the 49ers because the 49ers essentially had to run the wing tee after Brock Purdy got hurt, and they didn't have to throw the ball against the Giants either. Do the Eagles do you think they make a conscious effort to get Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown involved early? Because they didn't the last two games, but they didn't need to. A.J. Brown might be the best weapon in this game, not named Travis Kelce.
I agree for sure. Yeah.
Do you see them making like a conscious effort to get, or do you think they'll be content just running the football? Because I could see it both ways.
I think it's all game script dependent, just how everything's going, right? Like if the Chiefs get out to again, this is hypothetical, but I think it's well within a range of incomes. The Chiefs get out to a 7-0 or 14-0 lead, and when you get in, I'll say a negative game script like that, like if the Eagles are down, they're going to have to throw. And I mean, when called upon, A.J. Brown was like third in the league in receiving yards this year, and he was, I think, second or third in receptions. So he's, I mean, aside from like DK Metcalf, he's probably the most athletic wide receiver in the NFL. He's the strongest. Dude's huge.
Yep. Which the fact that they were on the same college team that won like 7 games is hilarious to me. But yeah, AJ Brown set the Eagles franchise record for receiving yards in a season. And it's one of those where we haven't seen him, but we haven't needed to see him. I would love to see him get going because I think AJ Brown is a supreme player and one of the best young wide receivers in the league, but we'll see, if they end up getting him going. Do you think the Eagles can go and win this game without throwing the football a ton? Because I think if for the Eagles to win this game, I think it comes down to 2 very specific things: ball control and getting after Patrick Mahomes. Right. Their offensive line has been dominant all year. I think they have the 3rd most sacks in a season in NFL history. But their offensive line, the way they've been able to move the ball, they have 3 Pro Bowlers on that line, and it's for good reason. What would your the old de facto the keys to victory? What do you think the Eagles need to do in order to win this football game?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier, but for sure getting to Mahomes, right? If they can get through that line, the Chiefs' line has been really good this year too. So if they're able to get Mahomes out of the pocket, test that ankle, that's going to be, I would say, number 1. But number 2, I think it is going to be the passing game, honestly, because the Chiefs do have a really good rushing defense, and if Frank Clark, and Chris Jones are able to get home, that's going to obviously clamp. They might stack the box too, because the Eagles obviously have Miles Sanders, they have Kenneth Gainwell, they have freaking Boston Scott, who, although the Chiefs aren't the Giants, maybe he won't score a touchdown.
Yeah, right. That dude is just a menace.
Absolute menace. And obviously Jalen Hurts can take off at any time. So although the rushing game has been good, I think the key to this game is that if Jalen Hurts is, and it's likely going to be because he has to, but if Jalen Hurts throws for 250, 300 yards, I think that's going to be the key for the Eagles in this game, because if he's throwing more, obviously that means that the Chiefs are probably ahead or leading most of the game. I would say the two keys to victory, even though it's cliche, are getting home to Mahomes. Getting to Mahomes, and then Hurts his arm for sure.
Getting to Mahomes. Love that. That would make a good pun. Some cheesy ass sports writer is going to do it on the Lombardi comes Mahomes if he wins it a second time. I love sports writers. I think their self-awareness is just so low sometimes, and it's so goddamn funny. Yeah. So funny. All right. So we talked about, you mentioned it briefly, the Chiefs getting out to a lead. I think there are 3 ways that this game can go. I think there is the Eagle, like it could be neck and neck the entire time. I think the Eagles can get out to a lead and like the Chiefs can come back. I don't know if there is a world where the Chiefs can get to a 2-touchdown lead and the Eagles can come back from that if it's late enough in the game. Obviously, if they get up like 2 scores in the first quarter, like I'm fine. I'm not going to panic. Do you think that there's any point in this game where it can become to where the Eagles are like, hey, we have to get out of their comfort zone anymore?
Right. Yeah, I mean, Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, fire away.
I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a world in which, they can come back. But again, like I said, if the Eagles are going to win this game, it's going to be on the arm of Jalen Hurts. Again, that's just my opinion.
You don't think they can do it running the ball?
No, man. I think
between Miles Sanders and like and Jalen Hurts, like if he had like 80 yards rushing and a rushing score, like I could see it.
Sure. But I mean, look at the Bills Chiefs game last year, right? That 13 seconds. I don't think that like if Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are in that situation, right? If they need a score in 13 seconds from their 20, 30-yard line, I have zero confidence in them to do that. When Mahomes does it, I was watching the game last year, I'm like, oh, like there's, of course it happened. And so I think that, I think if you watch like the Pat McAfee show, he talks a lot about like how guys have this moxie, this just like this energy about them. And Hurts is a guy, right? I think he's going to be in the league for a long time. He's proven he's in the MVP race, right? Like he's proven to be a stud, but I don't think that they're going to be able to do it. I don't think they're going to be able to win just running the ball. And I think, again, if Chiefs are up, let's say it's 5 minutes left in the third quarter, Chiefs are up by even 10 points, I don't think the Eagles are going to overcome that deficit, for sure.
That's fair. All right, we'll give our predictions at the end of the game, or at the end of the podcast, because I need you to stick all the way to the end before we can give out the juicy shit. But I want to talk a little legacy talk. Andy Reid, as it stands right now, is 5th all-time on the NFL wins list. He's 3 wins behind Tom Landry. I don't think he's going to be done after this year. I think, I certainly would like to continue coaching Patrick Mahomes if I was Patrick Mahomes' coach, but maybe that's just me. Do you think that if Andy Reid wins this Super Bowl, that puts him amongst one of, if not the greatest coach in the history of football?
Yeah. I mean, he won when he was in Philly. He won here. He's kind of had 2. It's kind of like, if you separate Tom Brady's career into like Hall of Fame, like from his 30s and 40s or whatever, 20s and 30s. I think Andy Reid's kind of got that similar thing going. Obviously, at this point, even if the Chiefs win, I think Belichick is still the best coach of all time, right? Like,
I would agree.
You can argue that it was Brady, which I would, but he, ultimately he was at the helm, and they still won. And so I think, it's kind of like, I would say Andy Reid could vault himself into 2. And then if this dynasty continues, Patrick Mahomes has been in the Super Bowl. This will be 3 times in 5 seasons, right? Like that's not insignificant. And so I think if Reid continues this legacy, he could be the next Belichick. And I think he's proven himself to be that for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy to see among I have the list pulled up, like active coaches. There's Bill Belichick and Andy Reid, who are 3rd and 5th in all-time wins. The next highest coach is 16th, and it's Mike Tomlin.
Wow.
So, like, there is just such a gap between those 2 guys and everyone else in the league. Mike McCarthy is top 20 in wins.
Whoa.
NFL, all-time. I would have never guessed that.
No shot.
I would have never guessed that. That's crazy. But this isn't a Cowboys show. We're not talking about the damn Cowboys. Right. The other thing, better all time at their position, Jason or Travis Kelce.
Oof.
In my opinion, I have Travis Kelce as the 2nd best tight end of all time. My number 1 being Rob Gronkowski. I think he is just absolutely different. Like what Gronk at his peak, I don't know how you scheme for a guy who is bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody else on the field. Jason Kelsey, when it's all said and done, is going to his accolades are ridiculous, and if he ends up with a second Super Bowl, he is going to be talked about one of the greatest offensive linemen of all time.
Sure.
I think. Do you think that they will go down? Like, which one do you think will go down as like better at their position?
That's a good question. You know what? I think I would have initially leaned Travis before this conversation, just because. And one thing, I listen to their podcast every week. I think it's awesome. One of the best forms of media that you can take in right now. But Jason brought up this good point where it's like, Travis, you have stats. You know, you have touchdowns, you have catches, you know, you have all this. He's like, I don't really have stats. Like, nobody talks about me like that. But I think, you know, especially he's been in the league for what, 13 years, 12 years, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
And I think just to have sustained success, I mean, dude's an all-pro at, what, 30, 40 years old? That's crazy. So yeah. We don't hear. Granted, it's the name value, right? Like it's the two Kelseys, they have the podcast, whatever. But there's a reason we know his name, and we knew his name before this, and it's because Jason Kelsey could be a top 5, top 10 O lineman of all time. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Looking at he is a 5-time first team All Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler. That is insane. And to put that into perspective, like Travis Kelsey is a 4-time first team All Pro, not 5. Now Kelsey's an 8-time Pro Bowler, not he has more Pro Bowls, but I think and again, Pro Bowl is such a subjective. I take All Pros into consideration so much more, just because like Huntley has a Pro Bowl now.
Right.
Like what?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
So, yeah, but. It makes an interesting argument. I think they are both Hall of Famers. I think they both absolutely could end up being in the Hall of Fame,
right.
And should end up in the Hall of Fame. But did you watch the Pro Bowl at all? Like, did you see any of?
I watched
any of the I didn't even see highlights on Twitter. Like I saw a couple, but like nothing crazy.
Yeah, just the whole dude, the Jalen Ramsey hit stick on Tyreek was nuts. That was crazy,
bro. I can't believe that there weren't like hands.
I know.
Like that's insane. Like especially with how much these guys like value their health and shit, to get like to make a hit like that in the damn Pro Bowl in flag football.
Right.
That was insane to me.
And Tyreek just stood up and he's like, "Hey, that's cool. Did I get a touchdown?" You know, he wasn't caring about anything else. He's got to be built a little bit different, but it is what it is. Let's talk about some bets here. This is, look, I'm a degenerate gambler. You're a degenerate gambler. Right. I would bet my life savings that I could defend you one-on-one now that I'm back into my prime. Ooh, let's go, baby.
Healthy hamstrings, whatever. But we'll have to run it back this fall.
Right.
But let's talk this game. I have my best bets written. I have not seen yours, so I'm really interested to hear. Let's just talk your favorite from the top down. We'll go you first, then me. We'll see what we all love for the bets here. What is your favorite bet for the Super Bowl?
Oof. I got it. Okay, so it's my favorite bet, but the value sucks. But I'm taking Travis Kelsey minus 125 anytime touchdown scorer. I mean, you talk about a guy who is a difference maker. And that was, by the way, that was on FanDuel as of this morning. So odds could have changed. You could get it better somewhere else. But wherever it is that I'm taking it, that's my play. Kelsey is just such a difference maker. He's second all time. Him and Mahomes are second all time in quarterback, receiver, in touchdowns in the playoffs. And they're only 2 behind Gronk and Brady. So between this year and next year, I think he's going to shatter that. And that starts. He could get his 14th in the Super Bowl. Again, I talked about MVS earlier. Like, if they get anywhere within the 10-yard line, Kelsey's getting targeted every single freaking time. And so his odds, the odds makers, like him to score a touchdown too. That's why the value sucks. I think it's a great parlay piece. But again, it's my favorite play.
Yeah, I love that as well. When you look back at his stats and you look at his receiving touchdowns, he has 15 receiving touchdowns in the playoffs, but since 2019, he has averaged at least 1 touchdown in every single playoff game. He had 4 in 3 games in 2019, and then 3 in 3 games, 3 in 3 games, and he has 3 already in this postseason in just 2 outings. He is so damn good, so damn consistent. Like, if I'm going to lose a Super Bowl bet, like, I will not feel dumb if I bet on Travis Kelce to score a touchdown and he doesn't. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's one of those where it's like, it made sense when I placed the bet. So I love that. I will probably throw it in too, in, one of the same game parlays or depending on the book you use, which if you're a sports book listening to this, sponsor the show, we'll use all your odds. But I'm going to go my favorite bet, the opening kickoff to be a touchback as no. This is minus 145. And there's a lot of steam behind it, and I think this number might creep up as people talk about it. But Pat McAfee, which we referenced before, has talked about they use a ceremonial ball to kick off the Super Bowl every year. So this shit is not broken in like a typical kicking ball. And if you haven't, played football at a high level in the past, they beat the shit out of their kicking balls. They scuff them up. They mud them in order to get like a good kicking surface. You don't have that on the opening kickoff. And this isn't it's not a great numbers or analytics play on either side, but I think it's 17 of the last 20 have not been a touchback. Last year was a touchback, but I'm willing to bet that it's not. Harrison Butker and Jake Elliott don't have unbelievable numbers either way. They're both about middle of the pack when it comes to touchback percentage. So I'm going to take the opening kickoff not to be a touchback. I love having it, knowing that a bet will win or lose literally the second a game kicks off. So give me that to start.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think it's like a little bit more educated guess than the coin flip bet. McAfee.
Yeah,
I think McAfee lost $30K on the coin flip last year, and everyone was freaking out. But this is
dude, I can imagine.
Dude, that'd be nuts. That'd be especially if Donna Kelsey's out there flipping it. Are you kidding me? It'd be awesome.
Is she doing the coin flip?
Dude, there's 100,000 people who have voted in a petition for her to do it. It's awesome.
Holy shit, that would be incredible. Can you imagine the mom, your 2 sons, they're out? That's so kick ass. That would be so cool.
Yeah, there's a
damn. They absolutely should. It'll be some white dude who's the president of Johnson & Johnson or some shit or State Farm. It'll be whoever, because State Farm sponsors the stadium. It'll be
Jake from State Farm,
president of State Farm.
That'd be sick.
That's not a bad one though. That's not it's not Donna Kelsey, but it'd be okay.
I'll take it.
All right. Oh, damn. Okay, what do you got for? Did you say your third? Or your second
I
one?
haven't.
Okay, what you got?
All right, I'm not gonna reveal my pick on the line for the game yet, but give me over 50.5. That's what I saw it at earlier today, dude.
Okay, I need to hear why, because I was gonna have under 50.
Okay.
So let's duke this out here. Let's go. All right, little mano y mano.
So
why are you taking over 50.5?
Dude, these teams were the 2 highest scoring offenses throughout the entire season. In fact, throughout the entire year, including playoffs, they have the same amount of points scored. I believe it's 546 for each team. And you're talking about a Chiefs team who, in their last 3 games, is averaging 27 points, and the Eagles averaged 30. Again, 2 of those were playoffs. One of them was not. But I was just kind of looking at their last couple of games, and that's taking into account that the Eagles haven't been throwing the ball, right? They've been scoring an insane amount of points without really throwing the ball that much. And so again, like we talked about earlier, if they're in a negative game script, which I'm anticipating, I think Hurts is going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to throw for touchdowns. I would not be surprised, and I won't reveal my prediction for the game yet, but I would not be surprised if this game hit 60, 65 points. That's where I'm at. Even though the Eagles defense is so good, I think the energy is going to be electric and the vibes are going to be immaculate, but I want to hear why you picked the under, man.
But I picked the under for several reasons. One, I think that these teams are going to run the ball better than people realize. The over under for like total rushing yards is 250. I think that there's a chance that that goes over. I think this game is a little bit slower. The other thing, these teams, when it comes to like their previous games, a lot of the playoff games before were very, very under like ridden. I don't have the exact record, but I know the under is way ahead when it comes to betting, at least in these playoffs. Right. So I'm interested to see how it looks on that end. And then the other for these teams on the year, when it comes to the over-under, they haven't been elite. Kansas City is actually 8-11 to the over on the season. And Philly is, I had it up here. Now, where did it go? Philadelphia. Okay, Philadelphia is 10-9 to the over. Okay. So they're right at about 50%. I think with the over being as high as 50, I'm willing to ride the under here. And if I'm wrong, I get a good game. If I'm right, I win my bet. But it also, I feel like this also kind of ties into what my pick for the game is.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
One thing. So I'm right. You're riding over. I'm riding under. What's your next bet?
Well, before I move on, I want to say that so in the last 5 Super Bowls, the under is 4-1. Okay, so the over has not hit in 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. That being said, I feel like the gambling community is just so on that. Like they love trends, right? Like it's awesome, but you don't take into account the 2 teams that are playing. And again, I'm not saying that I'm some gambling sharp, right? Because I'm obviously not. But I think that alone will sway me towards the over because it hasn't happened in 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls.
Hey, water finds its level. I mean, there's a reason it's 50-50.
That's right.
What do you got on your next bet?
All right. Do you have another one before you get into like the actual game line?
Okay, I do. Okay. I have one more.
Okay, me too. Okay? Me too.
I am taking the Eagles' second quarter money line.
Okay.
The Eagles have been dominant in the second quarter all season. It's been a narrative all season. It's -115. I have no like stats, numbers, or anything to back this up. I just know that they have been dominant in the second quarter. And that is my like dumb brain. Like this is not like, and I'll make a whole bunch of bets on like the yardage based on players' target percentage and how they do in man versus zone based on what the defense plays. Fuck all of that. Eagles second quarter money line. I love for no other reason than that it's been good to me all year.
And I mean, you gotta go when the going's hot, right? I don't have anything negative to say about that. My final bet that I wanted to talk about, and this one, and please out there when I tell you this, do not put the mortgage on this bet. Okay, this is like a $5.
Yeah, just the car payment.
Yeah, this is like
just the car payment, not the mortgage, just the car payment.
Whatever your unit is, do like 7 like if your unit's $100, put $5 on this. Like I'm not telling you to put a lot, but it's fun and I love chaos. All right. We are taking any quarterback to score a receiving touchdown plus 5,000 on FanDuel Sportsbook. All right.
You know Patrick Mahomes has this ankle. Why? Give me the logic behind this. Give me the big brain. Is it because it's the Philly special? Is it because of the creativeness that the Chiefs have done over the last? Fuck. Now I'm talking. Now you're talking. I'm talking myself into
it. Dude, it's all of that, right? Like Travis Kelce has thrown a couple balls. You know, he's got an arm. He has thrown a pick, and it looked really bad. But I'm thinking it looked bad, man. It looked bad. But I'm thinking you get the Chiefs on a 1st and goal from the 4. You're not telling me that they're not going to direct snap it to either Travis Kelce or Jet McKinnon and have Mahomes go out wide? Or Jalen Hurts is a better athlete in a lot of ways than Mahomes. Like, who's to say that Devontae Smith doesn't throw him a seed? That guy's got an arm too. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he does.
I'm just saying. It's not – I think, like, of all the years that – like, Nick Foles caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Both these quarterbacks are way more athletic than Nick Foles. And There's also another bet that I like that's plus 10,000, which is both Kelsey brothers to catch a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
That is the dumbest shit I have ever.
I would never.
What?
Yeah, it's not advisable. But can you imagine that? Like, Twitter would explode. The NFL media.
Oh my God. The memes.
Oh my God.
And you know Jason Kelce would have some sort of incredible touchdown.
Oh yeah.
Like some sort of elite dance prep.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be incredible.
The Lions threw to Penei Sewell. Like, who's to say that they're not going to throw, Jason Kelce? That'd be sick.
You mean who's to say they're not going to throw at their most interior offensive lineman? At least Sewell is a tackle, so you can kind of get away with it.
Fair enough.
Oh shit. I don't love that, but I don't hate it. It's the who's the guy from The Office? The spills his chili.
Oh, Kevin, man.
Yes, it's you give me plus 10,000 odds on anything, I'll take it.
I'll take it. That's right.
So
That's right.
I love that. Hey, gambling's supposed to be fun. Let's have fun with it. I love that. All right. I need your pick for the game because I'm assuming that's what your next bet is. So let me hear it.
Give me Chiefs money line plus 105, baby. Here's why. First of all, did you have something to say before that?
No, I'm just gonna.
So number one, yep. I think that if you're gonna take a side here, it should be either whatever the line. I think it's minus 1.5 right now. You should take either the minus 1.5 if you're on the Eagles or Chiefs money line. I think that I'm not going to say you're a wimp or whatever, but like taking plus 1.5, you might as well just take money line, especially when you get juiced odds.
Yeah.
And when I was right,
I agree 100% with that. I agree 100%
for sure, right? And so when I was looking up odds this morning, I saw I locked in Chiefs plus 104 at the money line. Anytime you can get a little bit of juice, I think that's awesome. But I mean, and maybe you and the listeners have picked up on this, maybe not, but I do like the Chiefs to win this game. I think that, I think they're going to get out hot. I think I like, if they receive the opening kickoff, I can see a Travis Kelce touchdown, hitting that anytime touchdown scorer and getting off hot right away, baby. Give me an MVS 60-yard bomb. Give me a 10-yard pass or give me a Travis Kelce to Patrick Mahomes touchdown to start the game. That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I mean, I love what I see from Kansas City. I think they have. This is a weird metric to measure anything on. The Chiefs have a lot of fun, man. They had that little ring around the rosy play to Kadarius Toney a few weeks ago.
That was insane.
It was awesome.
That was bananas.
Yeah. I was watching that game with my buddy who's a Jags fan. He's like, I'm not even mad. This is awesome. But yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs have fun. There are a bunch of goons out there. Give me Chiefs money line.
So I'm on Eagles minus 1.5. I think we both think that this game is going to go essentially the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. You think it's going to be a high-scoring game in which the Chiefs win, and I think if it is a high-scoring game, I think the Chiefs win. I think you are 100% correct. If that total hits, if it hits over 50.5, I think the Chiefs are winning. So maybe you do a little parlay over in Chiefs, or if you like my side, you do parlay under in Eagles. I think the Eagles defense does what they have done all season long, and that is cause absolute mayhem on quarterbacks. I understand that the Chiefs offensive line is very, very good, but I trust the Eagles. I trust the Eagles defensive line. I don't know why I trust Nick Sirianni. I shouldn't. The dude's a goon, but I think he has the moxie. Philly just seems like they have something this year, and I'm going to stick with that. I think they run the ball. I think they keep it a low-scoring game, and I think they keep Patrick Mahomes within a field goal, but I don't think he gets it done.
Sure.
And I think this is going to be after the offseason, they're going to go, why do we not have any weapons for Patrick Mahomes? Like, why did they get rid of Tyreek Hill? Why did they let him walk? Right. Why do we not have any sort of elite weapons on this team? Let's draft a receiver at that number 31 overall pick, because I think they're picking at 31. Give me the Eagles minus 1.5.
Yeah.
So what's your score prediction then? Because I need to let's put this in the air so that way if one of us is correct, I can clip this. We're going to go hella viral. It's going to look great on the internet.
Right. That's right. It's good for the program.
Great for the program. Great for the boys.
Yeah.
I will buy you a sixer of beer if you get this correct.
Okay.
If you hit it on the nose, a sixer of beer, whatever beer you want, I will send that straight to your house. What is your Super Bowl score prediction?
My Super Bowl score prediction is Chiefs 33, Eagles 30. Okay? So
I love that.
Earlier
I
said I think the game could get to 60, 65, and this is the way to do it, baby. I will say, I think that to everyone out there, I think that Cody is like if it's a low scoring game, I think the Eagles will win. I agree with your analysis there. I think we're both coming about this the right way, if that makes sense. But I think that we're coming to different conclusions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we're strong in our convictions. Right. We just are opposite, and that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. So with that being said, I have written here, I have written on here a score. I'm going to change that on the fly because I don't love it. I am going 25-21. I think there's going to be a 2-point conversion. I think Nick Sirianni is going to get cute with it. I don't know if he's going to make the 2-point conversion or miss the 2-point conversion and drop it, but I'm going to take 25-21 Birds.
Okay. 25-21. So wait,
I love it.
Wait, but and that hits the under. Yeah, I was thinking about.
Yeah, that hits the under, right? Because I realized the original score that I had written down here was definitely hitting the over, and I would have felt like a total dumbass if I had taken if I had said it's going to go under this whole time, and then I take the over, and I'm like, oh shit, he's an idiot. So, hey, look, that's the type of in-depth analysis you get on this show.
That's right.
Only the best. Only the best. That being said, Andrew, thanks again for coming on. You can find Andrew on Twitter, at which you absolutely should follow at Andrew Elmquist1. It's going to be in the description of the podcast. It'll be on your screen if you're watching the YouTube. So be sure to give them a follow there. And then also follow the Commish crew. All of their stuff is going to be tagged as well. They have some awesome merch that I was lucky enough to see at the fantasy football convention. So, which are you going again this year?
Yeah, man, I'll be there. I want to dust you again, boy. Let's go.
Bro, see, I've been in the gym, right? I've been in the gym all grind. It's the picture of like when the confetti comes down on the opposing player. That was me. The Stephon Diggs watching the confetti rain. I've been in the gym. I've been grinding. I've been working. About to go to the gym after this because you motivated me to whoop your ass. Dude, I can't wait.
The problem is that I'm down like 23 pounds from the expo. I am slippery now.
Oh my god! The fact that that's the word you use to describe yourself. It's like, hey, describe white slot receiver? Slippery. This boy is slippery.
Right. Locker room guy, man.
Oh my god! I want to cut this up and only use the I am slippery. Just 2 seconds of video. Just post it on the internet and be like, without context, you now have to watch the show to determine what Andrew is.
That's a great idea, actually. I think you should do that.
Oh,
I endorse
it. All right, look, you're gonna see it on Twitter, and then you're gonna be like, "What the hell is he about?" And then you're gonna listen to it and watch the video, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense." Andrew, thanks again for coming on, man. I appreciate it. If you're watching this, subscribe, follow for more, and we will see you in the next one.